السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء، فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء، ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب، ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل: يا رب، أتأذن إلي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: اللهم السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام، ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء، فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Salawat Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. First of all, can I ask Brother Ali Reza Damani come forward and recite? Please recite aloud the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। खुशहाली मुबारक आप सबको। आज आपकी इजाज़त से मैं दो मनक़बत पेश करूँगा इंशाअल्लाह। सल्लु अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। तस्वीर सैयदा है इमाम रज़ा के पास, تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، معصومہ فاطمہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، جبریل جا کے پوچھ لے زیر کسا تھا کون، جبریل جا کے پوچھ لے زیر کسا تھا کون، تطہیر کی ردا ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، قالین کیسے شیر بنا تھا یہ پوچھنے، ہر ایک نبی گیا ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، آدم ہے یہ یا موسیٰ ہے، آدم ہے یہ یا موسیٰ ہے، نہ جانے کون ہے، آدم ہے یہ یا موسیٰ ہے، نہ جانے کون ہے، نوبت 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 بجا رہا ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، اس کو مسیح ماننے والوں کو کیا خبر، اس کو مسیح ماننے والوں کو کیا خبر، عیسیٰ کی خود شفا ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، کعبہ تو ایک مکہ ہے پتہ لا مکان کا، کعبہ تو ایک مکہ ہے پتہ لا مکان کا، یا کربلا میں ہے یا امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس، دیبل بتا گیا ہے کہ اکبر تیرا کلام لکھا ہوا پڑا ہے امام رضا کے پاس، تصویر سیدہ ہے امام رضا کے پاس. صلو علی محمد و آل محمد. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. نوبت ہے تیری شاہ کا اعلان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. تبدیلیاں تو لوح پہ کرتا ہے قلم سے. واقف ہے زمانہ تیرے انداز کرم سے. اللہ بھی رکھتا ہے تیرا مان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. روزے کی زیارت میں عجب حج کا مزہ ہے. زمزم ہے سبیل اور منا صحن شفا ہے. زمزم ہے سبیل اور منا صحن شفا ہے. روزہ ہے تیرا کعبہ ایمان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. پہنچاتا ہے مجھ کو کسی اور فضا میں صحن میں ہوتے ہوئے اڑتا ہوں ہوا میں. ہے فرش تیرا دخت سلیمان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. رازق کی طرف سے ہے تو ہی رزق کا قاسم. ہے نظم دو عالم کا تو ہی آٹھواں ناظم. پلتے ہیں تیرے رزق پہ شیعہ. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. ہو آئے نجف پھر بھی خسارے رہے گا. ہو آئے نجف پھر بھی خسارے میں رہے گا. شبیر کے روزے پہ اسے کچھ نہ ملے گا. ہے جان کے جو آپ سے انجان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. ہے جان کے جو آپ سے انجان. ارباب 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 رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارباب رضا مولا. سلطان عرب شاہ خراسان. ارے باب رضا مولا، ارے باب رضا مولا، صلو علی محمد و آل محمد.
Asanta Ali Reza Bhai. Next, if I can ask Uncle Subhan to come forward and recite as well. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
مختصر نعت اور اس کے بعد انشاءاللہ. کون کہتا ہے مجھے شان سکندر دے دے، میرے معبود مجھے فقر ابو ذر دے دے، مول کے لوح قلم بحر جہاد کلمی، مجھ کو الفاظ و مفاہم کا وہ لشکر دے دے، عشق جو تو نے اوے سے کرنی کو بخشا، ہو جو ممکن تو مجھے اس سے فضو تر دے دے، جس کا سرکار نے، جس کو سرکار نے بخشا شرف گویائی، لال و یاقوت نہ دے مجھ کو وہ کنکر دے دے، ظاہری تن کے لیے اور نہ کفن کو کپڑا، جو میرے عیب چھپا لے وہ چادر دے دے، ظاہری تن کے لیے اور نہ کفن کو کپڑا، جو میرے عیب چھپا لے وہ چادر دے دے، کون کہتا ہے مجھے شان سکندر دے دے. ایسا دنیا میں کوئی بندہ رحمان نہیں، جس پہ سلطان خراسان کا احسان نہیں، ایسا دنیا میں کوئی بندہ رحمان نہیں، اس طرح تیری کریمی پہ یقین ہے مجھ کو، جیسے توحید میں شک کا کوئی امکان نہیں، وہاں گئی فکر میری مدح رضا کی خاطر، وہاں گئی فکر میری مدح رضا کی خاطر جہاں جبریل کے جانے کا بھی امکان نہیں، تیرے دربار میں بجتی ہوئی نوبت کی قسم، تیرے دربار میں بجتی ہوئی نوبت کی قسم، کم اذانوں سے تیری جیت کا اعلان نہیں، ایسا دنیا میں کوئی بندہ رحمان نہیں۔ سلام۔
Next, if I can ask Uncle Shabir Naqvi to come forward, please welcome him with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم، بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، الحمدللہ رب العالمین، بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔ مولانا ذاکی شان میں کلام آپ سب کی نظر۔ ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے امام رضا، ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے امام رضا، دل نظر کو جلا دیجئے امام رضا، ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے، خریدتا ہے رضا خدا کا کیسے بشر، خریدتا ہے رضا خدا کو کیسے بشر، مجھے وہ راز بتا دیجئے امام رضا، مجھے وہ راز بتا دیجئے امام رضا، ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے، تمہارا نام ضمانت کا واسطہ ہے امام، تمہارا نام ضمانت کا واسطہ ہے امام، راہ خطر سے بچا دیجئے امام رضا، راہ خطر سے بچا دیجئے امام رضا، ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے، طلب کی راہ جو دشوار کبھی تو میری طلب کی راہ جو دشوار کبھی تو میری مسافتوں کو گھٹا دیجئے امام رضا مسافتوں کو گھٹا دیجئے امام رضا ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے آخری شعر ازاہ شام بسر ہو تمام عمر میری ازاہ شام بسر ہو تمام عمر میری مجھے یہ دل سے دوا دیجئے امام رضا مجھے یہ دل سے دوا دیجئے امام رضا ضیاء حق کا دیا دیجئے امام رضا بر محمد و آل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم.
Asant, please recite aloud salawat for all the reciters this evening. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected Sheikh, elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, if I can ask you, join me recite Surah Al-Fatiha, 1 Surah Ikhlas 3 times for marhum Syed Zafar Iqbal Kazmi, passed away in Pakistan this week. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please also recite Amma Ejibul 5 times, Dua Shafa for Syed Wajid Shah, Dua Shafa for Mu'minain Pakistan. And of course, there's an entire nation this evening praying at the Haram of 8th Imam, praying for the welfare of those passengers in the helicopter. And we pray to our 8th Imam through his wasila that he delivers the safe delivery of all the passengers. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yajibul mustahara zata'a wa yakshafasu. 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, if I can, this is the first occasion that we've invited Syed Muhammad Zaki Rizvi to our centre, and without any further delay, if I can ask the brother to come forward for tonight's mehfil. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, salawat.
صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. ليش أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي إليه مسائر الخلق وواقب الأمر. نحمده على عظيم إحسانه ونير برهانه ونوامه فضل امتنانه. حمدا يكون لحقه قضاء ولشكره أداء وإلى صوابه موجبا ولحسن مزيده مقربا. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين راحة للعاشقين والمراد المشتاقين شمس العارفين والسراج الصادقين نبيه مصباح والعلم صاحب الجود والكرم والله حافظه وجبرائيل خادمه والبراق مركبه سدرة المنتهى مقامه كاب قوسين محبوب رب المشرقين والمغربين جد الحسن والحسين مولانا ومولاي الثقلين أبو القاسم محمد ثم الصلاة والسلام على جميع أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المنتخبين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم منكر فضائلهم غاصب حقوقهم ومراتبهم ومنزلتهم ومقامهم من يومنا هذا إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله الحكيم في قرآنه الكريم وهو أصدق القائلين قوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فسيرى الله أعمالكم ورسوله والمؤمنون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات محمد. First of all, I'll apologize for the delay in arriving. I managed to pick the first day to come to Watford as being the day that is the final day of the Premier League, and I have to drive past about 3 stadiums to get here. So it wasn't an easy journey, but alhamdulillah, we're here nonetheless. And before I go any further, I consider it my duty to congratulate each and every one of you, and in particular our holy Imam, on the birth, the Wiladat of our Mawla Imam Ali al-Reza alayhi salatu wassalam. And in truth, it's an honor to be able to congratulate you for the birth of our Imam. In truth, we should be honored, we should be proud that we are the followers of such an Imam, but at the same time as I say that, I have to mention, where is our love for the Imam? How visible is it? How clear is it? How much love do we truly have for the Imam? When we look at those who we love in real life, well, I say in real life, when we look at those who we love in our lives, those people around us, our families, our friends, when we look at how much we love them, the feeling and the emotion we feel towards them, the connection we feel towards them, can we truly and honestly say, that's how I feel about the A'imma? Can I truly say that's how I feel about my Imams? Or is there some kind of a disconnect? See, for many people, their love of the A'imma, their love of the holy Imams is limited to the point of crying when they hear their tragedy. And even then, many of the masahib that we listen to from these mimbars, when we hear the tragedy of an Imam, oftentimes for many of us the case is that we can't cry unless that tragedy of that Imam is related back to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. See, my love for the Imam, For so many of us, we find that our love for the Imam is related only to crying over their tragedies. But that shouldn't be the case. Because your love for your Imam, it has such beauty within it. Even those who come to the Imam Barga, they come to the majalis, they come to the jashans, they don't have that level of love for the Imam that they should, but credit to them being here, you being here, is in and of itself your way of trying to have that connection. Today I want to focus on how to grow that connection, how to reach that point of loving our holy Imam. Because it's a beautiful relationship that the Imam has with his followers. It's an incredible relationship that the Imam has with his followers. In fact, there is a point where a man comes to our holy Imam, a man by the name of Abdullah, he comes to our holy Imam. And he says to him, Ya Imam, please do dua for me. The Imam looks at him, he pauses, he looks at him and he says, do you think I don't already do dua for you? The Imam says, everything that happens with you, I receive a report of it every day and every night. Everything that goes on in your life, I'm aware, I know. This wasn't a close companion of the Imam. This was just one of his Shia at the time, just a follower of the Imam. He's come to visit the Imam, ask for some du'as. The Imam says, I'm already praying for you. He says, I know everything that goes on in your life. And at that point, the man, he looked a little perplexed. Maybe thinking, maybe the Imam is exaggerating. Maybe he's just saying that to make me happy. Then the Imam, he points to Surah Tawbah. He says, have you not heard the verse of Surah Tawbah, verse 105, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, Rahman Rahim, wa a'malukum. And Allah is aware of everything that you do. Wa Rasuluh, and His prophets, wal mu'mineen, and the believers. When asked who these believers are, what does the Imam reply? He says these believers are none other than Amirul Mu'mineen and the Imams that follow him. Your Imam knows everything that you do. He knows everything, but it's not just like, it's exam season right now for many students, and many of you will have been through that when you're sat in the hall, you know, the invigilators walking up and down. Nobody likes exam season, there you go. The invigilators walking up and down, they know what you're doing as well. They're keeping an eye on you, they're watching you. They're making sure they know what you're up to in that exam. But that's not how the Imam is aware of your actions. That's not the same way in which the Imam is aware of your actions. Why? Let's turn to a hadith of our Imam himself. What does he say? He says that an Imam for his followers, he's describing the connection. He says he's like a companion. And he's like a brother and a father. And he's like a mother to a small child for his companions. Now what does he mean? Your companions, your friends, who are they and what relationship do we have with them? Your friends, they're those people who will advise you, they will guide you, your truest friends. Look at the friendships you have, the most dear friendships you have. If you can't advise your friend on something, if you can't help them improve, then what kind of friendship do you have? A friendship, a companionship is one of improvement, but at the same time, you enjoy each other's presence. If you haven't seen your friend in a long time, you yearn for them. That's how we should be with our Imam. Our Imam is telling us this is how he is with us. He's not describing the relationship of a believer to their Imam. He's describing the relationship of the Imam to the believer. The Imam's saying, I'm like a companion to my followers. Meaning what? I'm there to guide you. I'm there to advise you. But when you're not there, I yearn for you. I'm waiting for my believers. I'm looking for my followers. I want you to be around me. I want you to turn to me. The Imam's telling us he's like a companion to his followers. And then what? And like a brother and a father. And he groups the two. What's the similarity between the two? When you need help, you turn to your brothers, you turn to your father. When you need a rock, when you need that support, you turn to your brothers, you turn to your father. The Imam is saying, that's what I am for you. I am your rock. I am your support. The Imams that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed are there to be supports for us. They are there to help us through all the tough times. They're there to get us through each and every one of those moments. And we see this. We see this more than anything else. Why? In our houses, in our families, when somebody passes away, what do? We hold a majlis for Abu Abdullah. You lose somebody young in your family, you remember Ali and Al-Akbar. When we go through any sorrow in our life, who do we remember? We remember the sorrows of Abu Abdullah. We remember the tragedy of Karbala. And in that tragedy, we drown our own sorrows. In those tears, we wash away our own pain, our own grief. The Imams are a support for us the way a brother and a father are for their sibling and son. And then the Imam says, we'll get through it, don't worry. Recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And then the Imam says that he is like, or that the Imams to their followers are like a mother to their child. How is a mother with her child? There is no love like the love between a mother and a child. On this earth, between every relationship possible, there is nothing that comes close to the relationship of a mother and a child. The love that that mother feels is unmatched, unrivaled. A mother and her child are like what? See, a mother, when her child is not around, she is worried about her child. She's concerned. I learned it far too late. See, when I had finished sixth form, I used to come home quite late at night. I'd be out with my friends. I wasn't going anywhere I shouldn't be, but I'd just be getting home quite late at night. Often, 2, 3 o'clock, I'm getting home, and my mum's calling me the whole night. All night long, she's calling me, where are you? Why are you not home yet? Come home immediately. And at that age, it's quite annoying. You think, why is mum constantly calling me? I'm with my friends. It's embarrassing. Everyone's seeing. And then one day, before I left the house, I said to my mum, I'm like, by the way, mum, I'm going to get home at about 2:30ish today. She was like, okay. Didn't get a single call, at least not until 2:30. After that, the calls started coming, and I realized it's not that my mum doesn't trust where I am. She's just worried for me. She doesn't know where I am. She doesn't know what's going on. It's not that she thinks I'm out somewhere I shouldn't be. She's just worried about whether I'm safe or not. And we might sit there and think to ourselves, she doesn't need to worry. I'm fine. I can take care of myself. But a mother, she can't turn off that tension. She can't turn off that concern. That doesn't happen. A mother will always worry for her child. A mother will always care about her child. The Imam's telling us, I am like a mother to their child. I will always be worried for you. So long as you are far from me, I will always be concerned for you. That concern, it doesn't turn off. I don't switch it off. That stays constantly. See, my Imam is constantly remembering me. My Imam is constantly worried for me. But there's another aspect of the relationship between a mother and a child that the Imam also shares. See, a mother, she never wants to hear any faults about her own child. A mother never likes to hear that her son's done something wrong. A mother never likes to hear that her daughter has gotten into trouble. They never like to hear that. There is a time where some of the companions of the Imam, they come to the Imam and they say, Ya Imam, your Shia, they are getting drunk and drinking alcohol on the streets and along the pathways. The Imam responds, all praise be to that Lord, and all thanks be to Allah, who has guided us to the right path and to the path of Islam. Ya Imam, when we said they're getting drunk on the path, we didn't want you to focus on the bit about the path. We wanted you to focus a little bit more on the bit that they're getting drunk and they're drinking alcohol. The Imam says, no, alhamdulillah, to that Lord who guides us to the path of Islam, to his path. And then they come back and they say to him, Ya Imam, your companions, they're drinking this drink, it's called nabidh. Now there's two meanings of nabidh. It's either a drink made of honey or it's an alcoholic drink. There's two drinks with the same name. The Imam says, well, the Holy Prophet's companions also used to drink this drink made of honey. That's not a problem. They go, Ya Imam, no, not the honey one. I'm sure you must be able to tell. We're talking about the alcohol, Ya Imam. That's what your Shia are drinking. Your followers are drinking that. The Imam, again, he knew what this man was talking about. He knew he was referring to the alcohol and not the honey. But the Imam, he didn't recognize that fault. He didn't address that fault. Why? The Imam, he doesn't want to see the faults in his Shias. But I have to clarify at this point. You can't just go around doing what you want and expecting the Imam to ignore it when the time comes. No. The Imam clarifies his position here. When he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord, he wouldn't put the love of the Ahlul Bayt and the love of alcohol in the same one heart. See, if you want your Imam to treat you the way we have been speaking about, the way the Imam treats his followers, you have to make sure you are a follower of the Imam. You have to make sure you live your life in the way that the Imam would be happy with and in the way that the Imam would be proud of. See, because that is the ultimate accolade. That one day I can stand and watch my Imam say, I'm proud that you are my Shia. To make my Imam smile is greater than any other thing I can imagine. But the Imam here, he's telling us, look, he doesn't want to see the faults within his Shi'as. He doesn't want to see the faults within his followers. So his followers should avoid those faults as much as possible. But it's understood, we're fallible, we make mistakes. That happens. You can fall into sin, you can make a mistake. And according to these kinds of traditions, it seems as though the Imams will look away. It seems as though the Imams won't care. In fact, in this particular tradition, the Imam goes on, in this particular narration, the Imam goes on and he says it very beautifully. He says, Allah wouldn't put the love of the Ahlul Bayt and alcohol in the same heart. And he says, but if one of our Shias, if one of our followers, if one of these people, they do find themselves in that state, if they do find themselves acting upon these things, acting upon these wrongdoings, he says, then what will they find? He says, وَيَجَدَ اللَّهُ رَعُوفًا. He will find a compassionate Lord. وَيَجَدَ رَبًّا رَعُوفًا. A compassionate Lord. وَنَبِيٍّ أَتُوفًا. And a kind prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِمَامٍ. And this is one of the most beautiful lines in a hadith that I have read personally. وَإِمَامٍ عَلَى الْحَوْزَةِ. And an Imam standing at the Hawz, at the fountain. Which fountain? The fountain of Kawthar, ready to welcome you into heaven. We're talking about people who have made mistakes, committed sins. An Imam standing at the gates of heaven. But what is the introduction of that Imam? Standing at the fountain of heaven. وَإِمَامٍ عَلَى حَوْزَةِ عَرُوفًا. An Imam who recognizes his follower. He will see you and he will recognize you. When you see someone you recognize, it's a moment of happiness for you. Your eyes light up, you smile because you see someone you recognize. For those of you who have, the closest comparison I can give is for those of you who have been abroad. And when you're abroad, you hear someone who either speaks English or maybe they speak Punjabi if you're a Punjabi speaker. Or, for instance, today, in the morning, I was in Southall with my family and I was walking and I saw in a shop window there was a little sign that said, Labbaik Ya Hussein. And I looked at the shop and above it, it said, Assalamu alayk ya sahib az-zaman. And I looked at that and it brought me happiness. I was like, that's my people. That's a Shia there, that's somebody, that's my people. When you see your people, when you recognize your people, it brings you happiness. The Imam is telling us, if you fall into that sin, but you are a follower of the Imam, you've made a mistake, you've fallen into this sin, but you're a follower of the Imam, you will find at the gates of heaven, at the fountains of heaven, in fact, an Imam who recognizes you. An Imam who sees you and is happy to see you. And then he goes on and he says, and you will find A'imma, you will find Sadat, you will find leaders of you who are ready to do your shifa'ah, are ready to intercede for you, to bring you into heaven, to bring you. But here's the thing. We often think of shifa'ah as something that happens when we cannot get into heaven. This is something that is the same for Bibi Masuma and for particularly here in this hadith, which is of Imam Reza alayhi salatu wassalam. And that is that when we talk about their intercession, the Imam said that I'm going to find my Imam at the fountain of heaven. That's once I'm already in the gates. That's once I'm already in there. So what intercession do I need once I've already made it into heaven? See, within heaven there are levels as well. If you want to raise your level to the highest levels within heaven, you need the intercession of the Imam. And one thing that is specific for Bibi Masuma, the sister of our 8th Imam, is that she will intercede for you in heaven. Within heaven, she will intercede for you and raise you up through the ranks. See, the Imam's telling us, if you are a follower of your Imam, when you make a mistake, they will let you pass. They will recognize that that's not who you are. That's a momentary mistake, a momentary lapse. It's like for those of you when you're in school, right? And I won't say which of these two I was because you might not invite me back next time, but you have some students who are constantly good, but they have one day off, right? Students, for instance, who they do their homework every day. They've got every assignment in on time. They get top marks. They work hard. You can tell. The day they forget their homework, the teacher will be like, all right, don't worry, give it to me tomorrow. That's fine. But then you have those students who never get their work done. They never get it done on time. They never submit their homework on time. And if they do, it's not done to any kind of a standard. It's poor and you can tell it's rushed and they've not put any effort into it. Now see, they forget their homework, the teacher's not happy. The teacher's not impressed. They'll get a detention. They'll get held back. And they're sitting there looking at that guy who always does his homework. He's been let off and it's like, what? That's not fair. He forgot his homework. I forgot my homework. Why is he not being punished but I am? Because you have set a pattern of not doing the right thing. You have shown that you don't care about that work. You don't care about this stuff. That student cares, but they've made a mistake. There's a difference. Be a follower of the Imam. If you make a mistake, the Imam will look past it. The Imam will help you through it and make sure you don't do it again. But if you are somebody who blatantly and obviously and again ignores the rules of Allah, ignores the ahadith and the teaching of our Imams, then why is the Imam going to help you into heaven? Why is he going to raise your ranks? Why is he going to be happy when he sees you? You have to make yourself worthy of that shafa'ah, and then it will be there for you. And then you will receive that shafa'ah. So how do we get this relationship with our Imam? How do we get to that point of having this loving relationship with our Imam where we are deserving of his shafa'ah and where he's happy to see us, where he recognizes us? How do we get there? See, the first thing is to recognize that to be a follower of the Imam, it has merits of its own. To be a believer and a mu'min of the highest level, it has great benefit. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, أَفَمَنْ كَانَ مُؤْمِنًا كَمَنْ كَانَ فَاسِقًا. Can a believer, can a mu'min be the same as a disbeliever? And then what does He say? لَا يَسْتَوُونَ. No, they're not equal. A believer and a non-believer, they can't be the same. But why? Oh Allah, Ya Ilahi, Ya Rab, my Lord, if me as a believer in all that you have sent down, and I mean all that you have sent down, if me as a believer in you, in the prophets that you have sent down, in the Imams that you have appointed, in the wilayah that you have decreed, I believe in all of these things, I've done an action, whatever it is. I don't know, let's say I gave a certain amount to charity. And somebody who does not believe in you nor your prophets nor the Imams, and then wilayah is a very far away concept to them, they don't believe, but they did the exact same thing I did. They gave the exact same amount of charity. It had the same exact impact as mine. It had the same exact effect as what I did. We did the exact same thing. Why are you saying that my action and his action is not equal? That me and him are not equal? What's the difference? The difference here is between why I consider that charity to be a good thing. When it comes to your niyyah, your intention, it has a massive impact on everything you do. We've done the same action and we both did it for the reason of being good. We both did it to be good. So why is my action different? Because, not because I wanted to be good, no, but because why I believe that something good is good. And this is quite a convoluted thing to say, so I'll break it down a little bit for you. I'll give you guys an example. And this will tell you as well how much the difference between a believer and a disbeliever is. See, now if I were to sit here and tell you that a man punched a child, a grown man punched a small boy, I'd hope that you'd all be shocked. I'd hope that you'd all think, who was this man? Why has he punched a child? How could he do such a thing? That's abhorrent, that's terrible. But then I go on and tell you, but do you know who that man was? That man was Nabi Musa. And then everyone's tone tends to change. Oh, well, there must have been a reason. I'm sure there was some maslaha. He must have known something. Maybe it was a bad child, or maybe the child deserved it, or I don't know what it is. All of a sudden, that thing that just a moment ago there was no excuse for at all. It's abhorrent, it's terrible, and nobody should ever do that. As soon as you found out it was a prophet of Allah who did that, all of a sudden you're defending it. You're finding reasons to justify it. Why? Because now it's not the same situation. Why? Because now it is somebody acting on the will of Allah. So if Allah said it was good, I'll find a reason to believe it was good. Before, when I thought it wasn't something that Allah had directly decreed, I thought it was bad. See, now you see. We believe that good things are good because Allah tells us they're good. We believe that bad things are bad because Allah tells us they're bad. Now, the flip side of that is where morality comes from in general society. Your ethics and your morality in general society, where does that come from? That comes from public whimsy. There's no logic nor reasoning behind it. What was good 50 years ago is bad now. What was bad 50 years ago is good now. It's just on how people think and feel at the time, the general consensus of how people think and feel. But there's no logic there. There's no reasoning there. There's nothing stable about the ethics of that. The reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's morality and ethics is stable, the reason why we can rely on it so much is because Allah's morality, it cannot change. It will not change, it cannot change. Why? See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says something is good, it's not because He was in the mood to call it good that day. It's not because He had a good day, so He said, you know what, this will be good today. It's not because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala felt like it, or because today He's thinking in this way. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the culmination of all of His attributes. You can't take any one of those attributes away. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stops being Ar-Rahman, He stops being Allah. It's not possible for Allah to stop having any of those attributes that He has. And those attributes are where the morality of our society should come from. It's where our morality and our religion comes from. It is not based on how Rasulullah was feeling one day. It's not based on how the teachers of Islam woke up one day. No. It's based on the unchanging essence of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. So our morality doesn't change. Now, when we believe that this is a good thing that I'm doing because Allah said it's good, now you realize there's a difference between a mu'min, a believer, and a disbeliever. Why? Because they think it's good, fair enough, but they've got no clue why. They can't give you a proper reason as to why a good thing is good or why a bad thing is bad. I can. I can tell you which of the attributes of my Lord decreed this to be good, and those never change. My morality never changes. My ethics never change. What is good to me will always remain good. What is bad will always remain bad, because it comes from an unchanging Lord. That's the first step in having that relationship and love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I realize I've only gotten through the first step, and that clock over there is telling me I haven't got very long left. So I'll speed through. The second point of having a great relationship with my Imam, the relationship that I want. The first point was what? Recognizing the value of that relationship. The second point is that I need to recognize my Imam. I need to understand who he is. What is my Imam? Because if I don't, then how can I love him? You can't fall in love with something that you don't recognize. Although unfortunately nowadays for a lot of you boys, all it takes is a compliment and a nice wink. But generally speaking, you can't fall in love with somebody you don't know. You can't fall in love with somebody you've never met, or with somebody you've never interacted with, or with somebody who you don't understand. No. You might have a crush. You might feel some kind of affection. But love, that connection, that's different. You can't feel that for somebody you don't know and you don't understand. So we have to recognize and understand our Imam. We have to learn who he was, what he was. Our Imam, when we look at the seerah of the Imam, the life of the Imam, who he was and how he was, the first thing that stood out to me was his connection with our holy Prophet Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Our Imam has a great connection with his grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. So much so, in fact, that there are two separate occasions recorded where the Imam left his house to lead Salatul Eid, to lead Eid Namaz. And he was turned away and sent back home. Why? Because when he left his house to go and read the Eid Namaz, he left his house with such grandiosity, with such brilliance. I want to use the words glamour, but I feel like it doesn't quite work. It's not quite appropriate for the Imam, but he left his house with such brilliance that people started remarking, people in the street started remarking, it is like this is Rasulullah. It is like this is the Holy Prophet. We can see within this person what the Holy Prophet was taught to us to be. People started exclaiming, this must be what the Prophet is like. The Imam was turned away. The public will turn against the tyrants of the time. We cannot let the people consider him to be like the Prophet. Although the Imam in his lifetime was given great respect at times, but in these moments it was realized that that respect is far too much, more than we can handle, so we have to send him back home. Another incident and another occasion, and this is a very beautiful one, is there is a man by the name of Habib Khurasani. He says that there was a time where the Imam was due to visit my city. And a few days before he was due to arrive in my city, I had a dream. He says, in my dream, I had gone to Medina. I'm in Medina and somebody came and announced that the Holy Prophet is sitting in Masjid Abu Dhar. And he's inviting everyone who wants to come and visit him to come and visit him. There's no restriction. You can come, you can visit him, spend time with him, talk to him. Everyone can come. Anyone can come. It's an open invitation. So everyone rushes. Everyone chases through to get to the Holy Prophet, to get to Masjid Abu Dhar. He says, I entered, I spent time with the Prophet. I enjoyed sitting in his presence. He says, I kissed the Prophet's hand. Next to the Prophet, there was a bag of dates. He says, the Prophet picked up a handful and he gave them to me. He says, I went home, I counted them. There were 18 dates in total. And he says, I woke up from that dream, carried on about my life, very happy, enjoyed that dream. He says, 2 days later, the Imam arrived. I went to visit the Imam. There was an open invitation. The Imam had said, whoever wants to come and visit me, come visit me. There's no restriction. Whoever wants to come, come. I went, I visited the Imam. He said, I sat in his presence, I enjoyed his time, I kissed his hand, and I'm sure many of you can see where this is going already, but for those of you who can't, let me spell it out for you. He says, I sat with the Imam, I spoke with the Imam. Next to him, there was a small bag of dates. He says, the Imam gave me a handful of dates, and right there and then, I counted them, there were 18 dates. The exact same as I had seen in my dream. I hadn't told the Imam about my dream. He just handed me 18 dates. So I thought, let me try my luck. He said, I thought, let me try my luck. I asked, Ya Imam, before I leave, is there anything else you can give me? Is there anything more you can give me? The Imam responded saying what? He says, if my grandfather had given you more than 18 dates, so would I have. But he only gave you 18, so what can I do? See, the connection between the Prophet of Allah and our 8th Imam is so great, is so brilliant. If the Prophet gave 18 dates, that's exactly what my Imam gave. And the thing is, it's not like the man told the Imam his dream. The Imam knew anyway, but we know the Imam has knowledge beyond what we know. So then I think maybe the Imam would have sat there and counted out 18 dates to give this man. No, he just puts his hand in, pulls out the dates, hands them to him. The Imam knows exactly how many he's given, but he didn't count. He didn't check how many dates there are. No, it's intrinsic, it's inbuilt, it's within him. The holy prophets of Allah, his blood runs within the bloods of our Imam. His actions are there within the actions of our Imam. You can see the reflection of the holy prophet in his offspring, in our A'immah. And so if we want to be close to our prophets, we have to go through the Imams. We have to find our way to the Prophet through the A'immah, through the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Recite salawat ala Muhammed wa ala Muhammad. The second thing, or the third thing rather, we realize about the Imam, we have to recognize who he is. The next thing we recognize is about his life. Oftentimes we forget to actually look at the lives of our A'immah. Our holy Imam, when we look at his life, one of the things he was renowned for and best known for and best recognized for was how he treated the needy, was how he took care of those less fortunate, those impoverished. It's said that the Imam, whenever he would sit down at a dastakhan, whenever he would sit down at a sufra, whenever he would sit down to eat, whatever was placed in front of him to eat, he would take out the best items from within that. He would take out the best of what's being placed in front of him, put it to one side, and then instruct his servants, go and hand this out to the needy. Go and hand this out to the poor and impoverished. The Imam, he didn't hold back in giving. The Imam made sure that they had better than what he had. What he is eating, he has decided the best of that will go to those who need it more. On another occasion, the Imam, he writes a letter to his son, and he says to him, my son, I've been told that your servants, they have been taking you out from the small gate of your house, from the rear gate of your house, so that you can avoid the hassle of people coming to ask you for things. This is what your servants have been doing. They've been ushering you out of the rear gate so that you don't have to face the needy who are waiting at your front gate. He says, my son, it's my instruction to you. Whenever you leave the house from now on, leave from the main gate. And not only that, what else does he say? He says, leave from the main gate, and every time you leave your house, take with you gold and silver. Why? so that you can empty your pockets on the way out, so that you can give to the people who come to ask you. Don't ever hold back from giving. Because the more you give, and this is a prophet of Allah, this is a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. The more you give, the more you get in return. The Imams, they used to take care of the impoverished and the needy. Today, go and look at the haram of my Imam Ali ibn Reza. Today, go and look at how much wealth and beauty and brilliance is in Mashhad. You're telling me all the charity that my Imam gave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't repay that in the most physical and clear form? In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He refers to those who give charity as what? He refers to them as having given a loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. He says this in the Holy Quran. These are not my words, these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He says that He will repay it. He makes it His own responsibility to repay it. The Imam was very strong on charity. He cared very much about those impoverished. And the last thing that I'll mention as time escapes us is the Imam's love for knowledge. The Imam's wisdom was so beautifully on display during his Imamah. The Imam was known for his wisdom, for his brilliance. The Imam was narrated to have said, within the 2 years that he was able to publicly deliver sermons and publicly and openly teach people, one of his followers says, I recorded 16, and according to some narrations, 18,000 different pieces of advice that the Imam gave. And the brilliance of that is that if he was advising somebody from the faith of Christianity, advising somebody from the faith of Nabi Isa, he would advise them according to their book, according to the Injil. If he was advising a follower of Nabi Dawood, he would advise them according to the Zabur. If he was advising a follower of Nabi Musa, he would advise them according to the Torah. If he was advising a follower of the Holy Prophet of Allah, Muhammed Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he would advise them according to the Holy Quran. The wisdom of our Imam is incredible. We see it again and again, but it's not just that. There is a time where a man, he comes to meet the Imam. Now this man, he has left the Shia faith. There were rumors spread around at the time of the Imam that our Imam was not the successful heir of his father. So this man had left the Shia faith and he had followed those who he believed were the new Imams. So this man thinks, I wanted to test Imam Ali al-Rida. So I wrote down on a scroll some questions and I brought them so that I can ask him. But when I got to where he was, when I got to either his house or the masjid, he says there was so much of a rush, there were so many people there, I couldn't get to him. He said I couldn't reach him, I couldn't ask him my questions, I couldn't give him the scroll. He says before I left, the Imam called out, is this man here? Find out where he is. Ibn Ali al-Wahsha, I think that was his name. He says, find out where he is, bring him. The man is brought to the servants of the Imam. The Imam is engaged with all these people. He cannot see them. He cannot see this man himself. The man says, the Imam's servants, they handed me a scroll. I asked them, what's this? He said, this is the answer to all the questions you have brought for the Imam. Now the man stands there with 2 scrolls in his hand. He looks at one very confused because he says, this is the scroll with all the questions. I've not given that to the Imam. What do you mean this scroll has all the answers? He opens it, he sees the answers. He says, I knew in that moment there can be no Imam other than Ali ibn Reza. The man who answers my questions without me even asking them, how can anybody be greater than this man? The knowledge and the wisdom of our Imam was above all else. So if we want to reach that level of love for our Imams, if we want to reach that level of that relationship that we should be having for our Imams, focus on 3 things. 1, recognize who your Imams are. 2, act upon their life, for instance, how? The charity that our Imams give and the manner in which they give charity. Focus on that and apply that to your life. And 3, make your life a life of knowledge and wisdom and reasoning and logic. And I'll finish on the importance of that knowledge and reasoning. See, there is a time where a man comes to one of our Imams and he says, Ya Imam, if I have 24 hours left to live, what should I do? The Imam, if it was me or you, what would we say? Go spend time with your relatives. Go pray. Go read Quran. Go do dua. Go ask for repentance. Go give charity. Go do whatever. What does the Imam say? He says, you have 24 hours lft to live? Go learn something. Ya Imam, what am I going to do with that knowledge? What's the point of me learning something in the final hours of my life? How will that benefit me? What can that do for me? See, when Islam talks about the importance of knowledge, it's not just talking about facts and figures. It's not just talking about trivia. No, what knowledge is in Islam is the concept of wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is how you think, how you understand the world, how you see what is around you, and how you interpret knowledge that comes to you. See, one of the most beautiful definitions of wisdom that I've ever heard is wisdom is the ability to know two things and to understand a third from them. When I'm given two facts and I can figure out more or less something else from that, then I can say there is an element of wisdom in my thinking. If I have 24 hours left to live, I should go and learn something new. Why? Because everything I learn is a chance for me to develop my wisdom, is a chance for me to develop how I see the world, how I understand the world, how I interpret the information that I get. And that, when perfected, leads every single path to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That leads in every single avenue to Tawheed, to our Lord. And that is the mission of our Imams. That is what they want from us. You want to be someone who loves their Imam and whose Imam loves them. Understand and recognize Tawheed. Understand and recognize what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is as much as you can within your own capacity. Try and recognize your Lord. Try and recognize His prophets. Try and recognize His Imams. And I promise you, when the time comes that life gets difficult, your Imam will be there to support you like a brother and a father. When the time comes that you need advice, your Imam will be there like a companion. When the time comes that you need someone to care for you and look after you, your Imam will, like a mother does for her child. And when the time comes that you meet your Imam, inshallah, you will do so with a smile on your face and a smile on his. Recite aloud salawat ala Muhammed wa ali Muhammad. Before we end, we raise our hands in dua. Oh Allah, accept all our ibadat. Oh Allah, allow us all to become true followers of the A'immah. Oh Allah, for all those around the world struggling under oppression, grant them freedom from their oppressors. Oh Allah, for all those mu'mineen around the world struggling with ill health, and in particular the grandmother of our dear Shaykh, grant them complete shifa. Oh Allah, for all those believers and lovers of those who you hold dear, who have left this world, raise their ranks in Jannah. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Allow us to enter Jannah under his banner. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع الدعاء.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا مغيث الشية والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك يا عنيس النفوس، السلام عليك يا أيها المدفون بأرض توس، السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا والتحية والثناء، السلام عليك وعلى آبائك السبعة وأبنائك الأربعة، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا سيدي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا قامي الكفر والطغيان. السلام عليك يا دافع الظلم والعدوان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مهد وزهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم قل لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.